After Israel's massive airstrike on Iran mid-June, Iran responded with a fierce missile and drone counterattack targeting multiple Israeli cities. That retaliation marked the beginning of a full-blown direct conflict between the two nations. On June 19, Iran launched a Sejal missile directly hitting Soroka Medical Center in Beersheba, a major hospital serving southern Israel. The strike injured over 240 people, disrupted hospital services and resulted in the chemical wing being evacuated amid fears of contamination. Israeli officials have called the strike a war crime. Israel responded swiftly by targeting Iran's Arak heavy water reactor and other strategic sites aimed at curbing Iran's nuclear and military capabilities. In the days following, the human toll escalated tragically. According to the human rights activist news agency, at least 657 Iranians have been killed and over 2,000 wounded by successive Israeli airstrikes, with many casualties among civilians. In Israel, Iranian rockets have claimed at least 24 civilian lives and injured over 240 more. Explosions have damaged civilian homes, schools, and critical infrastructure in major cities like Tehran, Haifa, and Tel Aviv. In Tehran, after Israeli airstrikes destroyed fuel depots and military installations, over 100,000 residents fled, causing panic-induced caravans toward northern provinces. Roads clogged for miles, gas stations ran dry, and the government imposed temporary internet blackouts. Back in Israel, nearly 3,000 people were evacuated from homes near impact zones. Dozens of buildings were later condemned for demolition following structural damage. The military response has been relentless. Israel conducted waves of airstrikes targeting nuclear facilities in Bushehr, Natanz, Isfahan, and Tehran. Some reportedly damaging centrifuge plants but so far not triggering a nuclear meltdown. Behind the scenes, Israel's Mossad reportedly set up a covert drone base inside Iran, deploying weaponized microdrones to sabotage missile launchers and air defense systems, blunting Iran's initial counterstrike capabilities. Cyber warfare has also intensified. Iranian hackers reportedly struck Israeli infrastructure as tit-for-tat cyber attacks hit utilities and communication networks in Iran. This conflict is already reverberating across the Middle East. Iranian-backed militias, Hezbollah, Iraqi militias, Houthis, have all warned they may retaliate, or have already stepped up strikes against Israel or U.S. interests if the U.S. joins the conflict. Israel has issued stern warnings to Hezbollah and other proxies to refrain from entering the fight, threatening a broader regional conflict if they do. Meanwhile, diplomats have scrambled to prevent a regional war. European leaders have launched an unprecedented mediation effort. France's President Macron proposed a comprehensive deal, Iran halting uranium enrichment, freezing its missile program, and ceasing support for regional proxies in exchange for sanctions relief. Talks are underway in Geneva. A week into the crisis, Iran refused to resume nuclear negotiations until Israel stops its strikes. Meanwhile, the U.S., led by President Trump, has held off direct strikes but floated the idea of deploying bunker-buster bombs against Iran's deeply buried Fordo facility within 2 weeks if diplomacy fails. The UN nuclear watchdog, IAEA Director Rafael Grossi, warned that further attacks targeting nuclear facilities, especially Bushehr, could trigger radioactive leaks, posing disasters far beyond national borders. As civilian casualties rise, humanitarian agencies warn of looming crises, overcrowded hospitals, psychological trauma, disrupted food and medical supplies, and call for safe corridors and restraint. There's rising political tension across both societies. In Iran, rallies in Tehran and provincial capitals express anger and calls for further retaliation. But critics worry these will fuel authoritarian crackdowns. Inside Israel, families in missile shelter stations, including light rail tunnels, are becoming routine. Mourners gather at funeral processions for victims of Iranian strikes. Politicians are split between calls for decisive retaliation and those urging restraint, fearing larger war with Iran or U.S. involvement. The global fallout is already visible. Oil prices spiked by nearly 3%, with Brent crude rising to $76/barrel after strikes hit Iranian oil infrastructure. Airspace restrictions and embassy closures in Tehran, London, Canberra, and Washington reflect deep concern. Some countries organized evacuations of their citizens from the region. As of June 20, 2025, the conflict has entered its second week, marked by ongoing strikes, increasing casualties, sustained diplomatic efforts, and global anxiety about a potential escalation. Neither side shows signs of de-escalation. Iran remains defiant, forbidding U.S. negotiations while under attack. Israel has vowed continued strikes until Iran's nuclear ambitions are neutralized. This rapidly evolving conflict has profound implications not just for Israel and Iran, but for global security. We want to hear from you. How do you feel about Iran's missile attack on Soroka Hospital, the risk of nuclear contamination, US weapons potentially entering the conflict, Europe's diplomatic efforts in Geneva? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get the conversation started. And if you found this update helpful, like, subscribe, and share this video. Hit the bell icon to stay informed as events unfold. Thanks for watching. We'll be bringing you continuous coverage, so come back for all the latest.